press hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is the Full Press NHL Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Biringer, voice of Full Press Hockey, joined by Mike Morreale, NHL.com. He covers the New Jersey Devils. That's the big topic today here on the podcast. Mike, thanks for coming back.
Jim, always a pleasure to join and talk hockey with you. I'm talking prospects in one area. We're talking Devils in another, NHL in another. So it's always a lot of fun to sit down and talk and focus in on the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Devils, not a successful road trip. 1-3 through California, Colorado. Their 8-game winning streak came to an end. They were playing well, but I want to start off here. What did you see in this? Because I saw some things, you might have saw some different things. What did you see in this little 4-game stretch here that has you concerned about the rest of the regular season?
First and foremost, I think we all see the impact that Brett Pesce has on this D. And when he's in the lineup and when he's not in the lineup. And I think we got a good indication of what the Devils, or how much the Devils do miss Brett Pesce when he's out of the lineup. Because let's face it, Jim, early in the season, the loss of Jonathan Kovacevic, who we don't think is going to return until the new year, the Devils were doing pretty well with the streak that they had, the 8 games. Everything looked real rosy. And then you get to this road trip, this Western Conference swing. The Devils beat Colorado, then they go out, lose 8-4 to the Avalanche. Then they lose 5-2 to San Jose. They earned a nice win there, kind of a rebound win. Nice performance by Jacob Markstrom in that 4-1 win at LA, and then lose to Anaheim a day later, 4-1. So, look, it was 8 games in 15 days. I know that Coach Sheldon Keefe's not going to use that as an excuse, but it's something certainly you have to look at. Look, all teams have to go through this, right, Jim? They have to go through a stretch of games where they have to play a lot. Injuries are involved. So the Devils aren't alone in this. Every team has to deal with it. But I think the one telling point, or 2 telling points. First, what the impact Brett Pesce has. And then it was something that Sheldon Keefe said after the Sharks loss that kind of triggered something with me, and thinking to myself, well, this might be something that the Devils are going to have to think about and consider, and fans are going to have to look at, come May, April, whatever it might be during playoff time. And that was, there were some individuals that aren't playing to that structure, that defensive structure that the team needs to be successful against these better opponents. And I'm not saying that San Jose is a better opponent, or even Colorado, because the Devils beat them this year as well. But what I am saying is, if the Devils don't play to how the coaches want them to play defensively, then they're going to struggle. And we're going to see that. I mean, Anaheim's such a young, fast team. And if you don't have that defensive structure, even when you're missing some key guys, I understand that. But they shouldn't be allowing these early lead, 2-0, 3-0. It's just too much to overcome. There's too much parity in this league, Jim.
No, there really is. There's a lot of parity, and we know San Jose's on the up because they were in the previous week. It was kind of like a quasi home and home with San Jose, and they had the official home and home with Colorado. But I saw some things, like even Sheldon Keefe was saying that during that winning streak, he wasn't satisfied with some things. Yeah, he was satisfied. Okay, they got the W, but the process, the result, there were some things defensively that he was not too happy about. They were able to overcome it in that Colorado win in the overtime. But I agree, there's some things defensively with the structure that, look, early on in that winning streak, they were sitting back. They were like, okay, we'll play a patient style of hockey. All right, so what if the puck's not going in the net? It felt like, especially in that Anaheim game, some parts of the San Jose game, that they were getting frustrated. Pucks weren't going in the net, and it kind of started to break away from playing that patient, mature brand of hockey that we kind of saw early on.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think we did see that early on, and even after the loss to the Carolina Hurricanes, and we all know that Carolina right now, you have to go through Carolina to get to the Metro, even though they might be struggling a bit now. Carolina's Carolina, and we talk about it ad nauseum, Jim, you and I on Press Row, about how tough Carolina is against the Devils. But all that aside, New Jersey came back strong. They played well. They played to their structure. They were getting the goaltending that they needed. Jake Allen was playing out of his mind. Markstrom early on was playing very well before he got that injury. He was out a few games. Allen came in, did a great job. Nico Dawes got that one start at home. He played well, and the team was playing well in front of him. They were playing that patient, mature game, and even in the locker room when you go in there post game during that win streak, there was just a different aura about the team, right, Jim? It was they were more mature. They knew, hey, we're winning here, but no one's going to feel sorry for us if we get hit with injuries or we start losing a few games. So we need to keep the pedal to the metal here, keep going, play the way we're playing, play to the structure, and things will come and work in our favor. And then they just kind of got away from that, as you said, on the road, first against Colorado, and it went down 5-0. It looked like it was a goner, and then they were able to fight back and show that poise and maturity again, not getting too rattled. And you think it to yourself, geez, this is a different Devils team with the way they're doing this in Colorado. But then it got away from them later in the game. Maybe took some unnecessary penalties. And even though the Devils are doing a good job on the PK, it takes a lot of steam out of any momentum that you have as well. So that's also something you don't want to see happen, again and again and again either. You don't want to be killing penalties. You want to be on the power play, and the Devils have a decent power play as well. But look, defensively, I know Bradshaw's come in. Sheldon Keefe has praised him. He's done a fabulous job with this group so far. With these young defensemen that are there, we're seeing little improvements in Luke Hughes, Simone Nemec. Yes, there are some breakdowns here and there, but he's doing okay. I mean, we'll wait until Kovacevic gets back here. And then, of course, you're missing Brett Pesce, as we said early on. It's a huge loss.
No, it's a huge loss. I mean, look, Pesce alone, what he does for the penalty kill. Like, I know everybody wants to talk about Luke Hughes being a quarterback of that that defensive unit. I think it's Brett Pesce, just what he brings to that team, the penalty kill on the right side, everything. And this is what I've said in the offseason because, look, I heard Elliot Friedman talk about this the other day. This has kind of been my stance, and I've talked with some other people through Press Row, and we've talked to people around the building. The expectations for the Devils this year is higher than it's been in years. The captain said it on the European Player Tour. Jack Hughes has talked about it. The players have talked about it. They believe that they can, and Sheldon Keefe's talked about it. They believe when they go on the ice, when they put their equipment on, they can beat anybody. The expectations are high in that room about there's a standard. This is the way we want to play. But let's be honest here. It's time to win a playoff round or two this season.
Time to take another step. I agree with you. It's like, look, and this is another thing that they've talked about from the offseason, and still we're talking about it. This is Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt's, their 9th season. Jack Hughes is entering his 7th season. It seems like he just, it was in the league. But he's only played, more than 62 games once in a regular season. And when he did play more than 62 games, what happened? The Devils went to the playoffs. They beat the New York Rangers in the first round. They offered some excitement to the Garden State. So, look, health is first and foremost. But I agree with you, Jim. The expectations from ownership on down are high. New Jersey was a little bit derailed by some injuries last season, got into the playoffs, played well as they could against Carolina. Just wasn't enough to get through that series. This season, though, and you always got to count on some good fortune. The idea is to push further in the spring. Nico Hischier has said that. Jack Hughes has said that. So, this is it. I mean, there were some moves during the offseason I really liked what Tom Fitzgerald did in the offseason to tinker with the lineup a little bit. And I know fans, want to see the Devils make a splash, maybe get a legitimate winger for Jack Hughes, maybe get a legitimate 3rd or 4th line center to throw out there. It's not easy to do, though.
No.
And you have to give up some pieces to get some pieces. And right now the Devils have a pretty decent prospect pool. Anton Staleyev, their top defenseman there, who is someone that's going to come over after this season. Maybe he'll even be here in the spring to provide some added depth along the blue line in the playoffs if the Devils do make it. So there are pieces here. The injuries are tough. But you just gotta bear down and trudge through them, because that's the only way. Teams aren't going to feel sorry for you. You're going to have to get it done.
No, exactly. We're seeing what the Florida Panthers have going
Yep.
through right now. All their top guys are out, and no one feels sorry for them right now. Like, look, they're figuring out, and they figured it out last year. And that's the big thing, like you and I have talked about a lot. You got to next man up. And again, you bring in like the fan perspective, everything. Oh, we got to move Dougie Hamilton. Oh, we don't like the Jacob Markstrom contract. Oh, we need to move this guy or this guy. Yeah, but you want to win now. Like you're in that mode to win. So hypothetical, say they traded Hamilton and all the injuries are still here. So Pesci goes down, all these other guys go down, still no Kovacevic. You're back to 23-24 when the goaltending was the defense was young and they couldn't compete with anybody and they were getting pushed around. You're in that position. We have yet to see a healthy Devils team, right? Like we haven't seen it since game one. Dadonov went down. Glasses had injuries. Connor Brown's now out of the lineup. Like there's pieces here. Gritsuk's come in and played very well. I was very pessimistic about it because in the Nikita Gusev experiment a couple of years ago, I was like, I'm not sure how he's going to transfer over here. But let me tell you something. They have a nice player in that kid, and the 200-foot game, that's what the Devils love.
Love it. I mean, he's done a fantastic job, and he can scale the lineup too. You see him playing, second line. He could play third line, so that's valuable for any coach. Obviously everyone loves the shot. The shot there from Gritsuk is outstanding. Definitely has the skill and ability to play top six in a top nine role. I remember talking to Dan McKinnon, the assistant GM, about Gritsuk and what he kind of expected. And I asked him if there is an NHL comparison. He says, you know what, to be honest with you, probably a good NHL comparison. Look at Evgeny Dadonov when he was a younger player. He says he came over early. It didn't work out. He went back to the KHL for several years and then came over in the second time, which was more in line with what Gritsuk is now. He's gained that experience. He was maturing. He was marinating over in the KHL for a few years. And that's the one thing, Jim, I've always said is that Devils do a real nice job with their prospects, or they have for the past 4 or 5 years, letting them grow, mature, how they need to develop at the lower levels before bringing into the professional level. Because, look, we all know the NHL is not a development league. If you think of it that way, it's going to be these players are going to struggle. But in this case, Gritsuk was prepared for what he knew he needed to do to be successful at this level. And I think the added time off in the KHL really helped Gritsuk's game. And as you said, I mean, it's been lights out. He's done fantastic. And obviously I do a rookie watch every week for NHL.com, and I'm coming up to the Metro in a couple weeks here, the best players from the Metropolitan Division. I can tell you Gritsuk's going to be in that list, that top 5, because he's done a great job with the team. He's been listening, and one of the things that's really stood out that not only has surprised Keefe, but has surprised us as media people, is the fact that he's playing well defensively. Like this is a Russian player that is not afraid to get dirty, go into the dirty areas of the ice and get back and play D and help out on the transition in his own end. So I think those are things that Sheldon Keefe really likes, and the reasons why I think Gritsuk's going to have a real good year with the Devils.
Yeah, and obviously on that road trip we've talked about it. I mentioned Markstrom earlier. He gets that new 2-year extension, $6 million. I think it's a pretty fair contract given the window that the Devils are in right now. And as you said, marinating their prospects and their younger goalies, right? Like again, we talk about the young D, right? I bet you if you got Tom Fitzgerald to tell you, like, give him some truth serum, he probably wants Seamus Casey in the AHL right now, developing, right? Like he's kind of punching over his weight class. He's doing a pretty decent job, but again, you could tell he needs development. With the Markstrom contract, your thoughts on it, because they have guys coming.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Malik is one, right? A kid that they drafted, I believe, in 2021, who's been, we see him almost every year now at rookie camp, development camp. He was at training camp this year. Big, tall goalie guy waiting in the wings. Obviously, we all know about Nico Dawes and his capability when they need to spot start if there's a goalie injured. Dawes can go in there and he'll get the reps eventually. But as far as Markstrom's concerned, look, I've said this all along. I know fans kind of clamor about it and they go back at it with me, Jim, but I like Markstrom. I do trust Markstrom. There were a lot of bad things going on in front of him last season just because the team was banged up and maybe wasn't the team that he was promised at the start when he first signed that contract with the Devils, but I thought he looked good. I mean, the worry is he's, 35 years old, 35, 36, so questions long term, but for this short term, going into the next few years, 3 years down the road, I'd say, I trust him as long as he's healthy and playing the way he can. This is a goalie that not only can, really play well for the Devils, with his stature and going side to side, he still has it. And you saw it against the LA Kings too, how well he was able to play. I think he made it was like over 38, 39 saves in the contest, Jim. So I like the extension from Markstrom. I think it gives the Devils some stability in net. And obviously Markstrom and Jake Allen work really well as a tandem together. I think that's important when you have two goalies that are thinking the same way, almost the same age, same draft class. They really kind of work off of each other and help each other. And I think that's important in today's game because let's face it, goalies aren't 1 and 2 anymore. It's 1A, 1B. So with Markstrom and Allen, I think you see that. And I think the goalies have a good tandem there. What has to change, what must be better is the structure in front of them. That gives both those goalies the opportunity to make those big saves in crucial moments of games. You can't just rely on your goaltender, every minute of every game. It has to be a two-way street. And that 5-man Devils unit has to come back to help out. That's the way Keefe wants it. Yeah, no, and I've said this a long time. Like, it's great that the goaltender can stop saves 1 through 3, but 4 through 6, he needs help. Like, you can't have him go 6 for 6 when you're pinned in your end for 3 minutes. Like that, right. The goal's going to go in. And I saw some things defensively in the college. And again, they were playing shorthanded, so Pesce went out. So it's kind of like an outlier. But that trend of, okay, we're getting pinned in, we can't get the puck out, we're letting people just dominate. We're trying to play, I don't want to say Ranger hockey, but it's a point of, I've always said the Rangers like to rely on their goaltender and play counterpunch hockey. When the Devils are at their best, they're playing attacking, relentless in the other team zone. And when they went on that winning streak last year, towards the end of December, at the end of the first half, believe it was, I want to say off the top of my head, I want to say it was like maybe 15 or 16 games out of like 17 games where they held teams under 20 shots. That's the number for the Devils to be successful. Yeah, that's a good point. And we all know what happened in December, too. January, all of a sudden the Devils started to slip a little bit. So you don't want to see that happen either. So it's crucial that they get these victories now. They go on a little bit of a home swing upcoming here. So we know that they've played very well at home in front of their fans. So if they can regain some of that confidence back that they maybe somewhat lost on this recent road trip, that'll be pivotal for this club. And, when they're working in unison and doing things the right way, the Devils are going to be a hard out for any team in this league this year. It's just a matter of listening to the coaching staff. And the thing I like about Keefe as well is the fact that he does work really well with young players, with young teams. I'm not saying that the Devils are a young team, and we talked about this too, Jim. It's like the Devils are the middle of the pack now, which is another reason, which goes back to our discussion earlier, is that this is now. Like, the Devils have to win now. Like, let's see a couple rounds into the Stanley Cup playoffs, maybe even 3 if they can, if they can get that goaltending and if they could stay healthy. There's no reason to believe they can't do that. Keith's work in the development of young stars is solid. You look back, to his time in Toronto. Austin Matthews won 3 Rocket Richards. At the time, Mitch Marner was in Toronto. He flirted with 100 points each year. William Nylander turned in back-to-back 40-goal campaigns. These were young players, all top draft picks. They flourished under Keefe's system. Now you look at like a Dawson Mercer and a Luke Hughes. And look, a lot of people were kind of down on Mercer, right? Remember last year he was nicked up, injured a little bit. But boy, has Dawson Mercer really turned his season around this year with the way he's playing. And he's always been valuable. Even though he wasn't playing well, he was that valuable commodity on the PK. He can always get you a face-off here and there. So that's the impact that Dawson has and why he's such a reliable player. And I think Keefe is really extracting the positiveness that Mercer brings to a lineup, to a team.
Yeah, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine. And I want to get if this is a fair comparison for Dawson Mercer, because I've liked his play. Maybe he's read some clippings. Maybe he's heard the outside noise, the rat poison, as Nick Saban likes to say. Maybe he heard it. Maybe he heard about it. But I know Mercer said he knows he can play better. But I want to say this: the way he plays on the penalty kill, he had the 2 power play goals, and he had the 2 shorthanded goals. First player Devils to do that. Reminds me a little bit of John Madden.
It's a great point. I never really thought about it. But look, I think when you talk about your depth scoring and consistency, scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in this league. It's playing the right way, consistently getting to the dirty areas. And Mercer's a guy, much like Madden, that doesn't shy away from those areas. So you see a lot of his goals are right around the crease. So that tells me get to the crease more so you have a chance to score more of these goals. I don't think Dawson, had a bad year last season, but this year you're seeing what he can do when he's given that role, being that type of player and playing in those, key situations. Can he score, 20 plus goals in a season? Yes. Is he a type of guy that's maybe going to score 30? Maybe not. But that's what you want, a player of that caliber that plays the PK, that does all these little things to help a team at face-offs. You want him in that 20 to 30 range. Maybe a 60-point season would be nice. But, Dawson Mercer has proven that he can be that type player that the team can depend upon in big moments.
Well, another guy, I know we've got to wrap this up a little bit, but another guy to me that's really taken a step, and you mentioned Bradshaw. Well, I want to mention Dougie Hamilton because he's playing with a more physical edge this year and looks like a different player, not only under Sheldon Keefe, but I think the implementation of what Bradshaw brings to the table has helped his game.
It has. There's no doubt that we're seeing a different Dougie Hamilton this year. He looks a lot more committed in all 3 zones. I think he looks smarter in the decisions that he's making at the point. Hamilton, the one thing I've always appreciated about Hamilton, even in the times when he struggled, Jim, is his ability to get the puck on net. Like he always had that knack, even with the other clubs that he was on earlier in his career. He's always had that knack of getting pucks on net to create scoring chances, to create rebounds, to create chaos in the slot. But this year you see a defensive-minded, a defenseman that, wants to obviously he wants to contribute offensively on that PP1, but he's also playing the role as a defenseman that Sheldon Keefe wants. Now, obviously, Sheldon told us early in the year that he needs to do more. We expect more out of Dougie. And you're right. You're absolutely right. I think he is pushing his pace, and he's showing us things that maybe Devils fans and the Devils management team wanted to see from him when they signed him a few years ago.
Absolutely. No, definitely. I like what this team is bringing. I know they have a difficult homestand because let's be honest, Montreal is playing very well and they can skate with New Jersey, right? The Devils are a fast team, but the Canadians are very fast. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, I don't know where this came from because, I mean, look, you can't doubt any team that has Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin on it. But I think we all expected this team to be near the bottom of the standings this year. And boy, oh boy, what a draft pick Ben Kindle's turned out to be for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, that one. And then, of course, Matthew Schaefer and the Islanders. This is a very telling homestand for New Jersey, these couple of games, because you got to compete with some of these teams, especially the Canadians, because they can play hockey.
These next 3 games are like a dream come true for me. You get Ivan Demidov, right, with the Canadians. I'm going to get Matthew Schaefer Monday with the Islanders, and then Ben Kindle. I'm telling you right now, Ben Kindle, while I did have him going in the first round of my mock draft last year, did I expect this kid to be having this type of impact 12 games into his NHL career right after being drafted? No way. I didn't think there were many players that were going to be able to play out of this draft class, the 2025 draft class. But Schaefer's showing us, Michael Meese is doing a real nice job. And Ben Kindle, credit to the kid and credit to the Penguins, scouting staff to see something in this player and realize that maybe he has a chance this year, but if not this year, next year. But we're seeing it this year, and he's playing really well.
He reminds me a little bit. I know we're talking Devils here, but this reminds me a little bit of the impact Jake Getzel made on the Penguins in his first year. I'm not saying the Penguins are going to win the Stanley Cup. Let's pump that brakes on that. But he has that type of performance in him where he rises to the occasion.
He does. He does rise to the occasion. Now, this is the NHL, and let's keep things in perspective. Over an 82-game season, how is that going to look? We say the same thing about Gritsuk. Over 82 games, the rigorous schedule of the NHL, the pounding that you take, how is it going to look in January, February? So let's revisit then, but no doubt about it, Ben Kindle has surprised me, and I'm pleasantly surprised because he's really a fun watch, speed, and as you said, he has that impact like Jake Getzel had with the Penguins a while ago.
So as we wrap this up, I want one thing you're looking ahead to with this Devils homestand. What do you want to see from this team as they transition coming back from the road, but going on this 3-game homestand? What do you want to see from them? Because, we know what they're capable of. We've just seen what we've seen on the road. What do you want to see from them to show us, hey, this team is legitimate and they can take that step in the playoffs?
2 things. I want to see more of a structure defensively to knot teams up, to really tie them down, to make it difficult to get, easy shots on either Markstrom or Allen. And then the second thing, I just want to see more, and we've seen Jack Hughes push forward. Nico Hischier's done a phenomenal job. Jesper Bratt has done it. More from those players that we expect more from. Maybe the Timo Myers. Dawson Mercer has really chipped in this year, as we mentioned. So maybe Timo gets on a little bit of a roll here during this homestand, and he can get cooking. So with the play of the veterans and seeing them push forward, push this team, put it on their back and go forward, and then let's see a little bit more of that defensive structure that worked so well for the Devils earlier in the season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think a consistent 60-minute effort on my end, I think that's what we need to see, because that's what something Hischier's talked about, consistent 60 minutes and play a full game. I think that to me is something I'm watching for this weekend.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, Jim.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait. But guys, Mike Morreale from NHL.com covers the New Jersey Devils, prospects, the whole 9 yards. Check him out. I appreciate you coming on the Full Press NHL podcast today to talk some hockey.
Anytime, Jim. I'll see you at the rink and we could talk Carolina Hurricanes again.
We always talk Carolina Hurricanes at the rink. It always seems to be that way. Always comes back to Carolina. Always does. Guys, Full Press NHL podcast up on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, comment below. Take care, and we'll be back again real soon.
Full Press hockey coverage with Jim Biringer.